Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're doing something a little different, maybe. We're going really deep on just one thing.
Yeah, one single source, an Amazon product page.
Right. Not some complex report, just the page for a pretty common item, this HP printer.
The HP DeskJet 2855e wireless, all in one. And our mission, really, is to see what's actually on that page.
Beyond just the picture and the price, you know?
Huh.
What can we learn from the description, the specs, the reviews, all that stuff?
Exactly, because how often do you really, read everything when you buy something simple online?
Hardly ever for me. Price, stars, maybe glance at the features, click.
And this one looks tempting, right? $69.99, marked down from almost $90.
Plus, it's #1 bestseller in its category, over 9,000 ratings. Seems like a no-brainer.
But that rating is 3.9 stars, which isn't terrible, but it's not glowing either.
Good point. That's the first clue, maybe.
Could be. So this deep dive is really about peeling back those layers. It's not just this printer, it's about how we shop online.
Okay, let's start peeling. Layer 1, the main listing info.
All right, HP DeskJet 2855e, wireless, all in one, so print, scan, copy, color inkjet.
And they position it clearly. Best for home.
Yeah, it says perfect for homes, printing to-do lists, letters, financial documents, and recipes.
So setting expectations low, maybe. Light use only.
Definitely signals that. And again, #1 bestseller, 9,115 ratings, 3.9 stars. Yeah. That combo is interesting.
What about the key features they highlight right at the top?
Okay, so color printing, copy, scan. Got it. 60-sheet input tray that's not very big.
60 sheets. Okay.
Wireless printing, of course.
Okay.
HP app integration. And this is key. 3 months of instant ink trial included, but only with HP Plus activation.
The subscription tie-in. We'll probably need to unpack that later.
Oh, definitely. And it also says it works with Alexa.
Okay, interesting. Let's dig into the specs now, the nitty-gritty.
Right, the stuff most people skip. Print speeds, 7.5 pages per minute, black and white.
And 5.5 for color. That's ppm, pages per minute.
Yeah, pretty slow, honestly. Typical budget printer speed.
Okay. What about resolution? Yeah.
4800 by 1200 dpi for color, 600 dpi for black. Dots per inch. Decent numbers for sharpness on paper, at least.
Scanner type.
Flatbed scanner. So good for books, photos, thicker items. No automatic document feeder, though.
Got it. And here's something you mentioned, duplex printing.
Yep, listed as manual. Big one.
Manual means you have to flip the pages yourself to print double-sided.
Exactly. Print side 1, take it out, figure out how to put it back in, print side 2.
Ugh. That could be really annoying if you do that a lot.
For sure. It goes from, oh, okay, to I hate this printer pretty quick if you need double-sided regularly.
What about the wireless connection? Any specifics?
It mentions 802.11 BGN, but importantly, it says 2.4 gigahertz only.
2.4 only, not 5 gigahertz.
Right. And a lot of modern homes have dual-band routers or mesh systems. Sometimes devices struggle on just the older 2.4 band, especially if it's crowded. Could be a source of connection drops.
Potential headache noted. What comes in the box?
Printer itself, naturally.
Right.
Setup ink cartridges, 1 black, 1 tricolor, HP 67s, some guides, power cord, standard stuff.
Okay. Now, you mentioned something weird about an Ethernet port.
Yeah. The tech specs list one. So you'd think great wired connection option. But then if you dig around the page, maybe in Q&A or deeper details, it seems the manual actually discourages using it, and they don't give you the cable anyway.
That's odd. Why even have the port then? Or list it?
Good question. Maybe leftover hardware design. Or maybe it's functional but not supported by their setup app. It's confusing. A small detail, but maybe hints at setup quirks.
Okay, so that's the official story from HP and Amazon. Specs, features, the marketing spin.
Now for the reality check.
The customer reviews. All 9,115 of them, averaging out to that 3.9 stars.
This is where we find out why it's not a 5-star product, despite being a bestseller.
Amazon now gives those AI summaries at the top of reviews, right? What do they say?
Yeah, they give a quick overview. Themes are like, okay, for basic tasks, setup is hit or miss, some easy, some hard. Functionality is mixed.
Yeah.
And then big flags. Major connectivity issues, especially Wi-Fi. Mixed feelings on value, cheap to buy, but ink costs add up. And print speed and quality get mixed reviews too.
So kind of all over the place. That AI summary is useful, but let's get into the actual comments.
Definitely. The real juice is in the details people share. Let's take setup, for instance.
Some people found it easy.
Yeah. Genuinely. Some reviews say simple to set up, especially using the HP Smart app, maybe connecting to an HP laptop. Smooth sailing for them.
But not for everyone.
No. Others report pain during setup. Unclear instructions. Classic divide.
And you found a specific tip in one review.
Yes. This is gold. One person stressed you have to use the starter ink cartridges that come in the box. The printer apparently won't fully register or finish setup with other cartridges.
Whoa, that's not obvious at all. Something you'd only learn the hard way or from reading that one review.
Exactly. Crucial little detail buried in there.
Any other setup nightmares? You mentioned university Wi-Fi.
Right, one detailed review talked about trying to connect on a university network. The HP app just flat out said the Wi-Fi network was not supported.
Ouch. So if you're in a dorm or somewhere with a managed network like that, this printer might just not work wirelessly.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And that same person circled back to the Ethernet port confusion.
Yeah, the port that exists but doesn't.
Pretty much. Port's there, setup app ignores it, manual says don't use it, no cable provided. Just total confusion and frustration for that user trying to find any way to connect.
Okay, so setup is a gamble. What about ongoing connectivity? That seemed like a major theme in the AI summary.
Huge theme. Probably the single biggest complaint category. Reviews are littered with things like constant problems with Wi-Fi, printer won't connect to computers or phones, frequent disconnections.
That sounds infuriating for a wireless printer.
Totally defeats the purpose. And remember that 2.4 gigahertz only spec.
Yeah.
It's possible that's a contributing factor. Maybe it just doesn't play well with modern, complex home networks for a lot of people.
So the promise is most reliable Wi-Fi in the marketing, but the user experience is often the opposite.
That seems to be the reality for a significant chunk of buyers. It's a big disconnect.
Okay, let's switch gears to another biggie. Ink. The ongoing cost.
Right. The printer's cheap, but the ink. That's the razor and blades model, right?
The listing promotes that instant ink trial. 3 months free, then a monthly fee. They claim you save up to 50%.
Sounds tempting. Ink just shows up before you run out. Convenience plus savings.
But what do the reviews say?
Well, some complain about low page yield. They feel the cartridges, especially the setup ones maybe, deplete quickly.
Meaning frequent replacements.
And potentially higher long-term costs, depending on how much you print and how you buy ink.
Did anyone comment specifically on the instant ink program itself, beyond the trial?
Oh, yeah. One very detailed, very negative review basically said, don't sign up for HP Plus and Instant Ink. Called it a crazy program.
Why so negative?
Their main beef was that you pay per page printed. Even if it's mostly blank or it's something like a boarding pass you already pay the airline for, you're paying HP again just to print it.
I see the point. You bought the paper, you bought the printer. Why pay per page on top?
Exactly. And this person also disliked being forced to buy only HP cartridges through the program. They wanted the freedom to buy cartridges traditionally when needed.
Which contrasts directly with the instant ink model.
Completely. And this ties into something else mentioned on the page itself, kind of in the fine print.
It's like that.
It says the printer is intended to work only with cartridges with HP chips or circuitry.
Meaning no third-party ink.
Effectively, yeah. And it says firmware updates will maintain the effectiveness of these measures. So they're actively blocking non-HP ink.
Wow. So if you sign up for HP Plus Aid, you're locked into their ink subscription. If you don't, you're still locked into buying their potentially pricey official cartridges because they block others.
Pretty much. It really shifts the focus from the $70 purchase price to the total cost of ownership, which could be much higher depending on your printing habits and being stuck in their ecosystem.
That's a really important insight you only get by connecting the marketing, the reviews, and the fine print.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about other functions? It's an all-in-one. Print, scan, copy.
Right. We heard scanner works okay. Some people praised it. But generally, some reviews just said it sometimes fails to operate properly. Vague, but suggests general unreliability for some.
And we already covered the manual duplex printing. Big drawback for some.
Yep, confirmed by users. It doesn't print double-sided automatically. Got to do the paper shuffle.
How about speed in practice? Specs said 7.5, 5.5 ppm.
Reviews confirm it's slow. Called slow printing speeds. Inadequate for high volume.
But maybe okay for light use?
Yeah, others said not the fastest, but fine for occasional stuff. Again, depends on your needs and patience.
And print quality.
Specs give the DPI numbers, but reviews call it mediocre print quality for color.
So don't expect amazing photos.
Definitely not. Unsuitable for professional photo printing was one comment, but great for documents. For a cheap printer, text is likely fine.
So setting expectations is key there.
That's
Okay,
it.
for school reports, maybe not for framing pictures.
Exactly.
All right, let's try to wrap up the value perception. It seems really mixed.
Totally. Some reviewers love the low initial price, affordability, compactness, excellent value, one of the cheapest options.
Yeah.
But that's balanced by the not cheap to run regarding ink comments. The initial $70 is just the ticket to entry.
The real cost is keeping it fed with that HP-only ink, especially if the cartridges run out quickly.
Precisely. That's the crux of the value debate revealed in the reviews.
Okay, we've hit the printer, the specs, the reviews. What else is on this packed page? Ah, the add-ons, protection plans.
Right. They offer protection plans from Asurion, a third-party company.
What are the options?
There are standard plans just for the printer, a 3-year one for $8.99, a 4-year one for $11.99. Pretty typical add-on prices.
Okay, but there was another one.
Yeah, they also push something called Complete Protect, and that one's different. It's $16.99 per month.
Per month for a $70 printer.
Well, it covers all your eligible Amazon purchases past and future, not just the printer.
Ah, I see. It's a much broader subscription insurance plan they're trying to sell you alongside the printer.
Exactly. A different kind of upsell.
What do these plans typically cover?
Stuff beyond the basic manufacturer warranty, like accidental damage drops, spills, breakdowns after the manufacturer warranty expires, and power surge protection right from day one.
And how do claims work, supposedly?
They advertise it as quick and easy. File online or phone, approval often in minutes. Then you usually get reimbursed with an Amazon e-gift card up to the item's price, or they arrange a replacement or repair.
Any catches?
Usual stuff. Gotta buy the plan with the product or within 30 days. Doesn't cover pre-existing problems. That monthly Complete Protect plan has limits, like $5K claim total per year, and it doesn't cover commercial use.
And there's a waiting period for the monthly one.
Right, a 30-day wait before it covers past purchases you add to the plan.
So these plans are another whole layer on the page, trying to add recurring revenue or lock you into a broader service.
Definitely part of the modern online retail playbook shown right here on this one printer page.
Okay, any other quick things on the page worth noting?
Just the standard stuff, really. Info on free returns, usually 30 days. Secure transaction reassurances. Packaging details like it ships in the original box, unless you ask for Amazon packaging.
Which is good to know if it's a gift.
Yeah. And links to Amazon's own product support, phone, chat, guides, videos. Plus the usual Prime benefits, plug-free delivery, maybe get it faster.
Right. Standard e-commerce furniture.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's zoom back out then. We started with what looked like a simple, cheap printer, $70 bestseller.
Yeah, seems straightforward.
But diving into just this one page showed us, wow, so much more complexity.
Totally. We found technical limits like the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and that manual duplex printing.
We saw huge contradictions in the user reviews, easy setup versus nightmare setup, reliable versus constantly dropping connections.
And that whole ecosystem around the ink, the instant ink push, the blocking of third-party cartridges, the debate over long-term costs versus that low initial price.
Plus the upsell pressure with those different protection plans, especially the monthly subscription one.
It really shows how that star rating and headline price barely scratched the surface.
The real story, the potential headaches, the true cost, it's all there on the page, but you have to actively dig for it.
You really do.
Yeah.
You have to connect the dots between the specs, the marketing claims, the user complaints, and the fine print.
So this deep dive, even on a simple printer, I think it highlights how much info is actually available to us as online shoppers.
And how important it is to maybe spend a few extra minutes looking past the shiny surface.
Yeah, reading a few of those detailed negative reviews, checking those specs that seem boring, it can make a huge difference in understanding what you're really getting into.
Absolutely. It kind of leaves us with a final thought, maybe for you listening.
Yeah.
If a basic $70 printer page can hide this much complexity, these potential frustrations, these hidden costs tied up in subscriptions and proprietary ink, what might be lurking beneath the surface of other, maybe even more expensive or complex online purchases you make? Electronics, appliances, whatever.
That's a great question. How might knowing this, having gone through this deep dive with us, change the way you approach hitting that add to cart button next time?
Something to think about.